Welcome back, guys, to the next video. All right, so previous video we discussed this C++ fundamental data types, and now we're gonna go ahead and do some programming, and we see this data type, the size, how many space each data type takes into the bytes and bits. All right, so we see the bytes, not the bits. All right, so you guys go ahead and you fire up this code blocks, and now we see in our we are inside our C++ code block C++. Now we're gonna go and see the size of operator. So the size of, if you guys can see, because I put inside this comment. All right, so we see the size of. All right, so the first one we see, we put a C out, and we're putting a line here to make ourselves organized. End line, and the next C out, we are typing data, and we're typing the type, and we're going all the way here, and we teams how many bytes, how many space it takes. And now we save this and we check. All right, as you guys can see, I'll make it a little bit wider. That's our data is here, bytes here. Okay, I should make this a little bit here. Okay, so I'll copy this and put it in here. Okay, I'll check again. All right, you guys can see it looks more good, professional. All right, so if I put this one here. Okay, so the first one, we're going to see char. What's the size of char? C out. So data type, our data type, the first one is char. Char is character or char. Okay, now the fun begins here. So we have to put our size of operator. Size of, you guys can see, size of char. And we put one of these in here. So okay, as you guys can see, the char is 1 byte. So the char is 1 byte. We make this okay, so the char is 1 byte. All right, so okay, now it looks good. All right, so now it looks good. The char is 1 byte, and I'm gonna make this a little bit longer. All right, so we see the char is 1 byte. What about int, our integer? See, we see the size of int So you guys can see the size of int is 4 byte, and we copied this because I feel a bit lazy, and I'm gonna put double. I'm gonna put double. We see the size of double, and I'm gonna put a float, size of float. All right, so alright, the size of char is 1 byte, the size of int is 4 byte, the size of double is 8 byte, and the size of float is 4 byte. Alright, so what's the next one? We check the bool. What's the size of boolean? Okay, the size of bool is 1 byte. So now we see this the size of short. As you guys can see, the size of short is 2 byte. All right, so how about signed and unsigned? All right, so we go and see the signed int, signed int is signed is also 4 byte. You guys see it made no difference, because sign, if we go to negative to positive, but it makes no difference to the size, the bytes, you know, how many bytes it takes. So how about unsigned? Okay, so we go unsigned. All right, so we come here, every time you guys don't see, but I'll press Control S. It means whenever I write, if I want to compile and run, I'll press Control S to save it. Alright, so we see that the unsigned is also 4. So as we discussed, the sign, don't get confused with unsigned. The sign difference is we go to negative 2 billion all the way to positive 2 billion. With the unsigned, we go to the positive only, we don't go to negative. So that's unsigned. Just remember that, signed and unsigned, and don't get confused when you encounter this unsigned, signed int or unsigned int, or signed double or unsigned double. Don't get confused in that. All right, so we put it here. Okay, now we're gonna do another type. We put it on top. We're gonna say character alpha array. So, and we go, so we are assigning, we're gonna put A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Q R S T U V W X Y Z 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. All right, so that's our characters. Just remember that, because that's the type, and the type is char, and we name it alpha ends array because we're putting a lot of characters, and we're gonna check the size of this alpha now. Okay, so I'll put a control V. It means that I'm pasting, so I'll paste it because I copied earlier with the control C copy. So now we see the size of char, because we have a char here and we have the type char, and the name is alpha, but that's why we don't put a char again. We just put a size of alpha. What's the size of alpha? All right, so we see the size of alpha is 38. As you guys can see, the size of alpha. I'm not going to put a char, I'm going to put alpha, because it's counting the size, and it's all the way from here all the way here. It's counting every letter. So if you guys can put any other letter you want to put, but can add 2 more. The size of alpha char. You guys can see it was 38 and now it's 40, because counting the size of the alpha of the char or car. So the size, the data types of char or car is 1 byte, int is 4 byte, double is 8 byte, float is 4 byte, boolean, bool is 1 because it's yes or no. You don't need much memory for either to output 1 or 0, and the short is 2 byte, because if you want to go for small integer digits, you always go for short. You don't need a double or float, because just remember, as a C++ programmers, you guys need to use your memory, allocated memory, very efficiently. You don't want to put a double if you don't need if you only put a 2 digits, you don't put a double. You always go short if you don't need much, because what happens when you make programs and program starts to run, because the compiler and the things see that you use a lot of memory, it takes a lot of time, because it's going to be very heavy. You always try to aim for to make your programs as light as possible, so the less memory you use, the faster your program is going to be, and the less headache people is going to have with your program. So just remember that. So the sign int is 4 is equal to same as int, and sign it is also 4, and size of alpha char is 40. So that's our alpha char because we put it there, and that's a good example of, you guys see, that's the type and that's a name, and we put array, and that's how inside the array we put this. We have to include this, otherwise it won't take this entire array. This is array. And there's one more things I forgot to mention. We didn't include string, guys. String, because in string is an object. I'm going to discuss, and string is, the definition of a string is array of characters. Array of characters or chars. So it's array of chars. That's a string. Just remember that we use a string a lot, and when we mean a string it means a string is array of characters. So, and it's object type. we go for object shortly in a few videos. And that's it, guys. Just wanted to show this you guys the size of operator, the size of see with the size of C++ got operator. And if you want to verify which size or what sort of size, that's how you do. All right, in the next videos we're gonna go all this arithmetic operator and comparison operators. Till next video, bye.